Hotels are supposed to be a place of rest. You check in, you get your key card, you close the door behind you, and for a little while the rest of the world disappears. But sometimes, the rest of the world isn't the problem. Sometimes the problem is already inside the building. Tonight I'm sharing 3 true hotel stories. Incidents that were either fully or partially captured on security cameras, reported by guests, or documented by staff. The names in these stories have been changed or omitted at the request of those involved, but the events themselves are real. I'll warn you now, if you're currently staying in a hotel, you might want to turn the lights on. A woman I'll call Mara was traveling alone for work. She was a project coordinator, the kind of person who triple checks her calendar, arrives 15 minutes early, and never forgets to charge her phone. She was not the type of person who scared easily. She was, as she later described herself, stubbornly practical. She checked into a mid-range hotel in the Midwest sometime around 9 o'clock on a Tuesday night. The lobby was quiet. The woman at the front desk smiled, handed her a key card, and told her the elevator was at the end of the hall. Room 214. Mara took the elevator up, found her room, swiped in, and set her bag down on the luggage rack. She noted the room was cold, colder than she expected, and went to adjust the thermostat. It was already set to 72. She turned it up a few degrees and moved on. She ordered food to the room, answered some emails, and was in bed with the TV on by 11. Nothing unusual, nothing worth mentioning. It was around 2 a.m. when she woke up. Not gradually, the way you normally drift out of sleep, but suddenly, like something had pulled her out. She lay still in the dark for a moment, disoriented, trying to understand what had woken her. Then she heard it, a sound from the closet. She told me it was subtle, not a bang, not a crash, but a soft, rhythmic shifting, like fabric moving against fabric, like someone adjusting their weight from foot to foot. She told herself it was the ventilation system. She told herself the building was old and buildings make sounds. She lay there for almost 10 minutes, perfectly still, listening. The sound stopped. She turned the bedside lamp on, looked at the closet. The door was slightly ajar. She wasn't sure if she'd left it that way or not. She got up, crossed the room and pulled the closet door open. Nothing. See just the hanging rod, her jacket, and the small folding shelf above it. She checked behind her hanging clothes. She even looked at the floor. Nothing. She went back to bed, fell asleep sometime after 3. In the morning, she called down to the front desk to ask a quick question about checkout. The woman who answered was friendly, efficient. And then Mara happened to mention, almost as an afterthought, that she'd had a strange night, that she'd heard sounds from her closet around 2 in the morning. There was a pause on the other end of the line. Then the front desk attendant said, "Are you in room 214?" She was. The attendant then said something that Mara told me she has never been able to fully shake. She said, and I'm recounting this as closely to Mara's words as I can, "We've been meaning to flag that room. The motion sensor in the closet keeps triggering when it shouldn't. Facilities has checked it twice. They can't find the source." A motion sensor. Triggering in a locked room. At 2 in the morning. Mara checked out that morning instead of the following afternoon as planned. She has not returned to that hotel. And she says that to this day, she cannot bring herself to leave a closet door open when she sleeps. Not even at home. She doesn't know what was in that room. And honestly, neither do I. This next account comes from a hotel security guard, a man I'll call Derek, who worked the overnight shift at a large conference hotel in a major city on the East Coast. The hotel had over 300 rooms and was frequently at full capacity. Derek had worked there for almost 4 years. He had seen drunk guests, lost guests, belligerent guests, guests who wandered the halls at 3 in the morning looking for the vending machine. He was used to all of it. He was not used to what he saw on camera one December night. It was approximately 3:40 a.m. Derek was alone in the security monitoring room, a small, dim space lined with screens showing feeds from every floor, every stairwell, and the lobby. The hotel was quiet, a slow night. He was watching the cameras the way you watch anything after 3 hours, passively, not really looking for anything, when something on the 6th floor corridor feed made him sit forward in his chair. There was a man standing in the middle of the hallway. Not walking, not knocking on a door, just standing there, facing the far end of the corridor, still as a photograph. Derek switched to a closer camera angle. And the man was wearing dark clothing, a dark jacket, dark pants, no luggage, no phone in his hand. He was just standing with his arms at his sides, facing away from the camera. Derek watched him for almost 2 full minutes without moving. The man didn't shift his weight. He didn't look around. He didn't move toward any of the room doors. He just stood there, in the middle of an empty hotel hallway at 3:40 in the morning, completely motionless. Derek radioed his colleague, who was doing a walk of the lower floors, and told him to come up to the 6th. He kept his eyes on the screen while he waited. And then, and this is the part that Derek says he has replayed in his mind hundreds of times since, the man turned his head. Not his body, just his head. Slowly, almost mechanically, he turned it to look directly at the camera. Then Derek said, "I know that sounds like nothing. I know cameras are everywhere and guests look at them all the time. But something about the way he did it, the timing of it, like he knew I had just been watching him. I can't explain it. It didn't feel like a coincidence." His colleague arrived on the 6th floor less than 90 seconds later. The hallway was empty. Derek pulled up the footage to track where the man had gone, which direction he'd walked, which room he'd entered. But the footage showed something that didn't make sense. The man had not walked anywhere. Between the frame where he was standing in the middle of the hall and the frame where the corridor was empty, there was no movement, no walking away, no stepping into a room, no going toward the stairwell or the elevator. He was there. And then he wasn't. And the hotel reviewed the footage. They checked the guest registry for room 6. Every room on that floor was accounted for. They checked the stairwell cameras, the elevator cameras, the lobby. Nothing. There was no record of anyone matching that description entering or leaving the building in that window of time. Derek finished out that shift. He came back the next night, and the night after that. He worked at that hotel for another 7 months before leaving for a different position. He says he never saw the man again, but he also says that for every one of those 7 months, he could not watch the 6th floor corridor camera without feeling like something was watching him back. The last story I want to share tonight is one that still gets to me, even after having heard a lot of these accounts over the years. I'm a couple, I'll call them James and Claire, booked a room at a boutique hotel for a long weekend anniversary trip. It was a nice place, small, privately owned, the kind of hotel that has exposed brick walls and locally sourced coffee in the lobby and gets great reviews online. They were looking forward to it. They checked in on a Friday evening. The room was on the 3rd floor, down a narrow hallway with dark wood floors and vintage-style sconce lighting along the walls. Charming, they thought. Old-fashioned in the best way. The room itself was exactly what they'd expected from the photos. Queen bed, a writing desk, tall windows overlooking the courtyard. Claire noticed there was a door on the left side of the room that she initially thought was a second closet. James tried the handle. Locked. He checked with the front desk. Not who told him it was a connecting door to the adjacent room, and that both rooms could be unlocked from either side if guests in both rooms agreed to it. Standard setup. They forgot about the door almost immediately and went out to dinner. The weekend was good. Great, even. They explored the area during the day, had dinner out both nights, slept well. Nothing unusual. No strange sounds, no odd feelings, nothing. It was on their last morning, Sunday, that Claire noticed something. She was packing her suitcase when she glanced at the connecting door and stopped. The "Do Not Disturb" sign that had been hanging on the outside of their own door when they checked in was now sitting on the floor in front of the connecting door, on the inside of their room. She stared at it for a moment, called James over. He stared at it too. And neither of them had moved it. They were certain of this, not the vague uncertainty of half-remembered actions, but certain. They had not touched it. They had used the app on James's phone to request housekeeping, so they'd never even needed to touch the sign on the door handle. As far as they knew, it had been there the entire trip. James went to the front desk and, as calmly as he could, explained what they'd found. He asked whether anyone had been in their room, whether anyone had access to the connecting door. The woman at the desk checked the records. The adjacent room, the room on the other side of that connecting door, had been unoccupied for the entire weekend. Then she checked something else. She checked the key card access log, which tracked every time any door in the hotel was electronically opened or unlocked. And the connecting door between the two rooms had registered an access event. Saturday night, 1:17 a.m. Neither James nor Claire had touched that door. They had both been asleep by midnight. The hotel reviewed the camera footage from the third-floor hallway. No one had entered or exited the adjacent room that weekend. The room had been cleaned on Friday before James and Claire's arrival and had not been opened since. The access event had no corresponding key card. The sign had moved from one side of the room to the other, through a locked door in a hotel where no one else was supposed to be. James and Claire checked out that morning. They did not leave a review. I don't know what to make of these stories. I'm not sure anyone does. Maybe there are explanations. Maybe the closet sensor was faulty. Maybe the security camera had a gap in the footage no one could account for. Maybe the keycard reader glitched. Maybe there are rational, boring answers to all of it. But the people who lived these moments didn't feel like they were experiencing a technical malfunction. They felt like they were not alone. And that's the part that stays with me. If you've had something happen to you in a hotel, something you couldn't explain, you know exactly what I mean. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. And maybe sleep with the lights on tonight.